smells so good. Hey, I wanted to actually talk to you about how important thinking about the distributive property is, and this orange actually reminds me of a really neat question about Kyle. Let's have a look at it and see the distributive property will allow us to actually multiply big numbers really easily. Let's check it out. Okay, well, Kyle went to a fruit market. Now, the market sells a wide variety of fruits and vegetables. Now, this picture here shows a display of oranges. Our challenge? To write a question that can be answered using this picture. Well, okay, so what do I see here? Well, first of all, I see that this one display holds 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 rows of, and how many oranges are here? Wow, a lot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12. So 8 rows of 12 oranges. So that's great. And we notice that 4 of the rows are empty because there's nothing here. So all we have is this part here, and that's 8 minus 4, which is 4. So we have actually 8 rows of 12 oranges. So here's a question we can ask. Given this picture, how many oranges are there? Well, we know how to do this. This is really easy. It's just a multiplication question, right? It's going to be 4 times 12 because we have 4 rows of 12 each. So what would that look like? Well, we'd have 4 times 12. Now, I know that you and I can both figure out what 4 times 12 is. But I want to show you that using the distributive property, we can do this in our heads. That's the power of the distributive property. So here's what I want us to do. It's almost like a divide and conquer. I'm going to take that number 12 and break it into the sum of 2 easier numbers. And there's lots of ways of writing 12 as the sum of 2 numbers, but only one way to write it as the sum of 2 really easy numbers that I like, and that's going to be 10 plus 2. Because think about it, isn't that 12? If I have 1 10 and 2 1s, that's actually going to be 12. Now, notice how I put the parentheses here. This is so important because if you didn't write the parentheses, then it would just read 4 times 10 and then take that answer and add 2. We don't want that. We want to multiply 4 by the entire 12. If you want to multiply 4 by the entire 12 and you write 12 as 10 plus 2, you got to lasso that 12 into shape, actually, by putting parentheses around it. So now that the parentheses are here, this tells me that I can use the distributive property. Because remember what the distributive property says. If you're multiplying a number by a sum, then all you have to do is multiply that number by the first term in your sum, and then multiply it by the second addend, and then just add the answers. So in this case, it would look like this. And check out why this is now where it's going to get real easy. Because it'd be 4 times 10. You see how that's the first little bridge I showed, and then plus 4 times 2. You see? These are the same things, and that's the distributive property. Now, check this out. This is so easy. 4 times 10, that's easy. It's 40. 4 times 2, even I know that. That's 8. And if I have 40 plus 8, that is 48. Isn't that awesome? Look how quickly we multiplied 4 times 12 without doing any heavy lifting at all, and we see the answer, in fact, is 48. Well, that's really not quite the answer. In some sense, that's the answer to the answer, because our answer is supposed to be to write a question. It's so confusing. But here's a question we can ask. It's exactly the scenario that we set up, which is, one display can hold 8 rows of 12 oranges. That's what we saw. If 4 rows in the display are empty, how many oranges are shown in the display? And you see how we did that. We said there were 4 here, 4 rows of 12, and we broke 12 up into 10 plus 2, used the distributive property, multiplied even in our heads, made it a lot easier, and we see that the answer is, so the answer is 48 oranges are shown, but our real answer is the question. So it's amazing to see the power, in fact, of the distributive property. Distributive property is all over. It allows us to conquer everything. And by the way, now that we have all those extra rows of empty places in the crate where in one time the oranges were, right? All those empty, what can we do with it? Well, it's perfect because I have a whole bunch of red peppers that need a home, and now there's a place for them. Thank you, distributive property, once again. Have fun thinking about math, and we'll see you soon.